Forever. Dog.
Welcome to another episode of Best Show Bests, the greatest hits of the Best Show, with me, your host, Tom Scharpling. If you like what you hear, make sure you join us every Tuesday night on Twitch at 6 p.m. Pacific for a brand new episode of the Best Show featuring callers, celebrity guests, live music, and plenty of surprises. Enjoy! Good heavens, FMU, you're on the air.
Good evening, Tom. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. To whom am I speaking?
This is Steven in Chicago.
Steven in Chicago? Steven in Chicago?
Yeah, I have somebody else with me.
You do?
Yeah, you can say hi.
Hi, this is Steven in Chicago's boss.
This is Steve Albini.
It is, in fact.
How are you tonight, sir?
I'm pretty good.
Are you doing all right?
I'm clearly doing better than Steven in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
He was here earlier today doing normal, regular work type stuff.
Yeah.
And he went home, and he came back to take this phone call, which means, number one, he didn't have anything to do tonight. And then when he showed up, he had a whole new outfit on.
So
he'd changed a complete change of clothing.
He changed
for a
for
phone call.
this. Look, he's got respect for the show. He's got respect for the show.
Yeah, and he looked at me, and when I mentioned it, when I pointed out that he had changed all of his clothing, he said, "I went home and I changed my clothes." Like that was a thing people do. Like that was a normal thing that people do.
Look, you, if anybody, should know what a band who changes clothes is like. You produced one of the all-time greatest albums, Jesus Urge Superstar.
Well, they certainly changed their clothes.
That was one of the greatest albums ever.
Okay.
If you would have quit after that album, we'd still be talking about it.
Yeah, then I would own nothing now.
But that album's weird. It's weird.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I haven't heard it in a while.
But you also did a Supersonic Storybook.
I did.
The digits? You recorded some digits.
Hey Judester. Did you do Hey Judester?
Yeah. No, I did not do Hey Judester. I did Full Nelson Riley.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Good record.
Yeah.
The Fizz Job, Hey Judester, and Hornet Pinata, the trilogy of great digits albums were all done by Ian Burgess, who sadly shuffled off this mortal coil.
That is sad.
It
is. I'm not making.
Head, probably.
People think I'm making fun of the guy. So you, Steve Albini, superstar musician.
You keep this up, I'm going to hang up.
This is how I talk to people. I'm not making fun of you.
He's good with the superlatives.
I like praising people. I'm excited. This is an honor. Do I sound that sarcastic? Because I'm not being sarcastic.
My natural inclination is to assume that somebody's pulling my leg when he starts kissing my ass.
Well, look, you got that guy next to you, that weird dude who works for you.
Yeah.
He'll vouch for me.
Steven in Chicago.
Yeah. He'll vouch for you. Because, look, I will say this. For years, that guy's been bragging to me. I'm going to get Albini. I'm going to get Albini. Watch. He's been waving it around like this Trump card.
Right.
In my face.
And now he has just spent all of his political capital.
Yes.
I'm done after that.
He has cashed every chip.
Unless you need a report on swimming pool closings in the city of Chicago.
Why, is that his area of expertise?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he can tell us about which swimming pools have closed.
Well, the ones that he's still allowed to go to.
Yeah. I like monitoring the swimming pools of Chicago.
Which means that he's on several watch lists.
So he wears kind of like the old-timey swimming costume to mask his ankle bracelet.
Well, his facial hair and attire has been, his general motif has been described as grizzly femme in the past.
Grizzly femme. So what's his facial hair situation like?
It's growing into a beard again.
Yeah.
It was a mustache for a long time.
It was a profoundly pervy mustache.
I think the last time I saw you, Tom, I had a beard at that point.
You know what I like about you, Steve A? You're clean shaven.
That's me. What do you like about me?
You're clean shaven.
Can we go through the list of things you like about me?
You're clean shaven.
I need a little affirmation in my life.
Makes a statement. You're clean shaven.
That's true. true. I am.
You wake up in the morning, you just don't accept what grew on your face while you were asleep.
Yeah, I
As
did go
just-
through a brief experiment with a mustache.
Yeah, and then you ditched it.
My wife would have none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. See, but in the morning you gotta get that stuff off your face. It shows you're ready for work.
Yeah, I can't argue with you.
Get these other guys. They didn't earn any of those beards. Half of them.
I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with beards. It's just that there are very few faces that can really produce a profound beard. Most of the beards just look half-assed.
Yeah.
And they're the product of a half-assed lifestyle that sees negligence as some kind of a goal, you know.
What's the best beard in baseball, Steve?
Best beard in
Albini?
baseball?
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank on his name. The dude from the pitcher for the Giants.
Who's Brian Wilson?
Brian Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heroic beard.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a House of David's caliber beard.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, how about the best mustache then?
I don't track mustaches. Sorry.
Raleigh Fingers.
No, see, that was a gimmick. Raleigh Fingers. I mean, that was all. The '70s mustaches were all kind of. Yeah.
Like those.
I don't really. I mean, I think you have to go back in the 19th century to get like a real quality team full of handlebar mustaches.
Sure.
Like this, the Cincinnati Red Legs, or one of those the Boston Pilgrims, or one of those teams.
What are your other things? You like poker? You like baseball? You like cooking?
What? This is about me now?
Yeah, it's all about you. You think it's about me? I'm going to have you on the line to talk about me, or to talk about the other
yeah.
Steven?
I play poker. I cook food. What else do you want to know about me?
Yeah.
Is this like a Match.com?
It is.
scenario?
Yes,
are my choices
it's
weighted on
it's
a
an
psychopath
enormous
and non-psychopath
Match.com
scale?
setup.
He has cats.
Yeah,
How many cats do you have?
we have 3.
And does that dog get along with them, Uffizi?
Uffizi got along fine with the cats while he was here. He's no longer here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry to hear
he's
that.
still on the planet. Don't get me wrong. He
Okay.
just doesn't live here anymore.
Okay. But Uffizi was friendly to the...
Uffizi was tight bros with the cats.
Okay.
Can you say that about cats and dogs and when they're female?
Yeah.
Can you say that?
What did you think when you saw that Animal Planet thing with Uffizi?
It was charming. The drummer in my band, Todd,
Yes.
has. I say my band. God, that was really embarrassing. The drummer in the band I'm in. Let me just cut the Twitter chatter for a moment. The drummer in the band I'm in has an absolutely charming and deeply held emotional attachment to his dog Uffizi. They are companions in every sense of the word. And
Yeah.
Todd was living here for a while, and Uffizi was living here for a while. And seeing that, like, sort of honored on television, on national television, was pretty nice.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
It's an accomplishment. Not many people get on television, and very few people get to, like, go on television with their significant other.
Yes, to kind of document the love of their dog.
My favorite moment in that TV show, went by very quickly, but my favorite moment in that little vignette about Todd and Uffizi was they were trying to play up the fact that Todd was this, grizzled tough guy rocker, played this crazy noisy rock music, blah blah blah, and then they cut to Todd pulling a blanket out of the dryer and saying, "You want a warm blanket, Uffizi? You want a warm blanket?" I thought that was pretty charming.
Now, this Steven from Chicago, the other one, the one who
Steven
calls
from
my
Chicago,
show.
Yeah. Grizzly Femme, right.
Yeah, that's that's yours. I'm not going to.
Okay.
What do
you need to know?
What's his deal? Just
Horrible taste in footwear.
horrible.
He has some of the most brutally hideous kicks of any person on the planet. Like the kind of a magenta clown shoes. He's wiggling them in the air at me right now. Magenta clown shoes with a baby blue squiggle on the side.
I'm very proud of them myself. I like them, but
God, I feel like eating something I don't like so I can throw it up on those shoes.
There you go.
What else do you need to know?
Tar records? How many Tar records did you do?
How many Tar records does
Yeah.
he have?
No, did you
that
do?
did.
How many guitar records did I do?
Yeah.
I don't know, several.
That dude had that steel guitar. What was that like to Mike?
It's it's a guitar.
But it had like a plate on it or something, right?
John and Tom both had guitars made for him by a guy named Ian Schneller in Chicago. They're made out of aluminum, and they look odd, but they play conventionally, and you record them conventionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
All right.
We can just talk. You don't have to make small talk. You don't have to try to dredge up stuff from my past.
These are all the things I'm interested in. One more question about your past, and then I'll drop it.
I don't want to step on your toes.
I'll ask one more question about your past.
Go.
When Bush came and played, right?
Right.
Did that band have one of those old dudes in it? Like one of those guys who's like 25 years older than the rest of the guys, like Night Ranger?
No.
No?
No, although that would have been a pretty good shtick.
Because you know how Night Ranger had that keyboard player who was like 55?
You're probably more of an authority on Night Ranger than me.
You should get into Night Ranger. I think you would not be disappointed.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that at this point in my life, there's very little chance that I'm gonna go through the effort required to acquire a taste for Night Ranger.
All right, fine. I'll send you an iTunes gift of Night Ranger.
I
but you probably want FLAC
files. I haven't had
files.
an iPhone until I'm about to purchase an iPhone.
If anybody listening has Night Ranger FLAC files, I need some lossless Night Ranger stuff.
Especially the early stuff before they got slick.
Yeah, before they went pro.
Right, Night Ranger demos, please.
So, yes.
Original lineup only.
Yes. Some early Jack Blades demos, him and Fitz. The keyboard player's name was Fitz in Night Ranger.
Right.
And he literally, they hid him in all the videos because he looked like, he just looked like one of their dads. And it was one of those situations where just like this guy's not going anywhere.
The most May-December band I can think of is the band The Stranglers. You remember them?
Yes.
The Stranglers in the 70s, all those guys were in their 20s, except for their drummer, Jet Black. He must have been in his 50s then. So, and they're still playing. They have a different singer now.
And you want to talk about mustaches?
That band that was a pretty proud band that was a pretty sleazy band.
That was those were mustaches like you get a free trench coat with one of those mustaches.
Yeah, that mustache came with an Amber Alert.
So, Steven, the other Steven,
Yes.
the one who calls every week, how are we doing here?
I'm fine.
No, not you. How am I doing?
Oh, how are you doing?
I know you're fine.
Hey, you had Andy Kindler on moments ago.
Yeah.
Was Andy physically in the studio?
No, he was on the phone.
Oh, that's a shame. I was going to have you say hi for me.
Oh, I will.
I know him distantly through my wife, who works in the comedy world.
Really?
Yeah, I know him a little bit.
What other comedy stuff do you like?
What other comedy stuff do I
Yeah.
like?
What do you
I
like?
like Louis C.K.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is good? Dana Gould is funny.
Mm-hmm.
Our old office manager, the old Stephen from Chicago, is a guy named John Novotny.
Okay.
And he was a stand-up comic in Chicago, and I met him through my wife, who was in the comedy world, and he was a pretty funny guy. Although I don't know if you could tell from his comedy. He was a pretty funny guy, just sort of in interaction.
Mm-hmm.
He has a podcast out on the West Coast now.
It's because that's a law now.
Yeah, I think you don't get to move to L.A. without getting a podcast underway.
Yeah.
So who's funny?
Hannibal Buress?
Hannibal Buress is funny.
Yes, he's funny.
The staff and roster of Drag City Records, remarkably funny people, to a man. Probably batting average, the funniest group of people I know on planet Earth. You should definitely, you should take a run at getting some of them to call you.
Well, I got to get Dan Koretsky to call in?
No, Dan's funny, but he's not loquacious. You should get Murph on the phone. Okay. Ryan Murphy would straighten you out.
Hey, Mike, can you book Murph from Drag City for
Brian
next week's
Murphy.
show? Brian Murphy.
But you can't tell him in advance, because then he'll work something out. It won't be funny.
Okay, so we'll just do like a...
Just Shanghai him.
Yeah, punk him.
Who else is funny?
You hate other sports. You only like baseball.
Well, yeah.
The other ones don't do it for you.
The other ones, I don't enjoy I don't enjoy the activity. I don't enjoy watching them. I think they are trivial. It makes me feel uncomfortable watching people spend time and energy on something that seems so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But baseball's not stupid.
No.
Okay.
Sorry. You're doing
Look,
great, Tom.
Everybody's got what that's why God invented horse races.
I mean, I can explain why. I have explained why previously to other people, and then my position seemed less ridiculous. Would you like me to explain
Sure,
why?
I would love to hear this.
Okay. I have my wife is convinced that I have Asperger's syndrome, and in that I have a sometimes uncomfortably logical approach to things in life, where I see patterns and connections and make reductive decisions about things based on, mental illness. Maybe let's put it that way. And so when I see many of the sports that I see seem like they're essentially the same thing, just done in a different way. Like you have one crowd of, meatheads trying to move a thing from one side of a field and stick it in a goal, right? And then you got another crowd of meatheads on the other side trying to stop them, right? Sometimes they do it with their feet. Woo! Sometimes they do it like by butting heads they got gear on and they smack their heads together and do it. Sometimes they do it by bouncing a ball between their legs. But it's basically the same. They're all the same sport, When the clock runs out, whoever has the most points wins. It just seems stupid to me. Like a game with a sport, a sport with a clock, it just seems ridiculous. And then so that's one kind of sport, right? Mm-hmm. Then the other kind of sport is where you have a thing going pong, pong back and forth across a net, and you have like a guy on one side or a team on one side, and they're trying to prevent the other guy from returning the thing, the ball or the shuttlecock or whatever. And it seems like basically that's all sports in the world except baseball. Mm-hmm. So all those other sports just seem stupid, like variations on tic-tac-toe to me. Like, ooh, tic-tac-toe play, but it's pumpkins and crosses, It's not X's and O's, it's stars and buttons, whatever. It's still tic-tac-toe.
Sure. I'm with you.
So baseball is the game that isn't like that. And so baseball is the game that can keep me sort of endlessly entertained.
All right. Look, I respectfully disagree.
Tom's a big basketball fan.
Do you at least understand why basketball is the same as hockey?
How dumb do you think I'd have to be not to? I think the people who love it understand that. That's not a great mystery to people who love it. Of course it's all the same.
I also think baseball is different in that in all of those other sports,
there's no room for fatzos.
Well, exactly. Raw athleticism is probably the most important aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Whereas in baseball, you can be,
John Kruk.
Yeah, exactly. Boog Powell,
Yes.
David Wells.
Yeah.
You can have Bartolo Colon.
Sure.
You can have like a big round dude who can still
do one thing
expertly well, and
I get it. I get that up and down. I get it up and down. The beauty of basketball is that it's so simple, but it's so complex. It's so simple, Steve.
If it's so complex, how come every game is like down to the last 9 seconds?
Well, that's not true at all.
Why don't they just play just the fourth quarter? Give everybody 75 points and play just the fourth quarter.
But because that would be for people who don't appreciate beauty. You're more than entitled to watch the last 5 minutes of any game.
No, why would I? I think it's a stupid game.
Well, look.
It seems like a video game to me. It's not like people are in their video games where people can score, or pinball games where you can score like 100 million. Like, really? Like an average score is $1 million?
Look, I'm not going to get into the inflation that took place on pinball machines. This is not the time nor place for that.
But basketball
You've played
is
Asbury.
a very similar game.
You played Asbury Park, right?
Yeah.
Did you go to the pinball museum?
Yeah,
Did you love it?
I did.
Yeah, it's great,
But
right?
I mean, I played mostly the non-pinball games.
What did
I
you
played
play?
like the bat and ball games and
Yeah.
the, electric race cars and the helicopter pilot, all that Seawolf and all that kind of stuff.
I played this baseball, the baseball game where one person pitches
Right.
and that like you have 3 pitches you can choose and the other
Right.
person's at bat. I played Todd Abramson, who runs Maxwell's,
Okay.
and I'll tell you, I was down. You should have seen it. This is like Field of Dreams in an arcade. I was down.
And you lightning struck a tree.
Grand
and you carved
slam.
a quarter out of it. And put
I
it in.
literally hit not back to back because you can't hit back to back grand slams, but I loaded them up, hit a grand slam, loaded them back up, hit another grand slam. I maybe have never been happier in my whole life than in that moment. And I was jumping around the arcade, and I was in the worst mood ever because I was supposed to interview this dude from the Turtles who stood me up 45 minutes
like he
earlier.
has a lot else to do.
Look, I'm not going to get on this guy from the Turtles. He seems like a nice enough guy who had some travel issues. I didn't love it driving down to Asbury Park on a day that I didn't have to go there. But I took lemons, I made lemonade. Next thing you know, I'm in an arcade playing Todd Abramson, and I'm hitting grand slams. That's the way I look at life, Steve. Both of you. Both Steves. Both of you.
When life gives me lemons, I don't really complain. I kind of like lemons. I don't need lemonade. Lemonade's fine, but I'm fine with lemons. Lemons is fine.
I'm going to take you to a Washington Wizards game, Steve.
Okay.
We're both going to meet in D.C. and watch.
Okay.
Well, maybe that might not be the best form of
And
basketball.
you're picking the Washington Wizards because they're a terrible team, and
because the tickets will be
reveal
cheap.
something about the game.
No, the tickets will be cheap. I figure we can probably get like third row seats for $25.
We're sitting on the floor for $40, right?
So during the whole thing with the Bulls, you were just like, I hate this.
No, I was like, I don't care about this. This is happening like a car wash in another neighborhood. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
You didn't even get a little excited when you
care.
heard that Alan Parsons Project song?
Do not care.
Although, y'all ready for this?
As a novelty, I've been to several weddings
Yeah.
where they play the 2001 music and then the same music that they play when the Bulls would come out with the dry ice and the spotlights and stuff. They'd run out one at a time while they're being announced. That's how they announce the bride and groom and the wedding party at weddings in Chicago.
And people get pumped?
Oh yeah,
All right.
they throw them in the air.
Air hockey means nothing to you. Air hockey? Yeah. Air hockey? I'm really good at it.
Okay.
You're going to have to take my word for it.
Everybody likes to do something he's good at.
They had a pretty vicious air hockey tournament at one of the ATPs in where was it?
Look, I'll say this about ATP. Look, I was sad that the thing fell apart in Asbury Park. But on another hand, move it to New York. Go pollute a pier there. Stay away from I don't want these creeps. And also,
From your
like,
precious Jersey.
well, Asbury
precious,
Park. Yeah,
Jersey?
my precious, pristine Asbury Park. Yes.
Okay.
I don't want these ne'er-do-wells breaking the pinball machines in the place. Because now it sounds like, hey, the arcade's free for... Why is it free? Why is it free for these guys? Because they came down to watch Afghan Wigs play? They get to watch free... They get to play free pinball?
I think I earned it by having to endure the Afghan Wigs.
Look.
Yeah, that sounds like sour grapes. When life gives you sour grapes, you make sour grapeade.
Look, I'm not going to make fun of the Afghan Wigs. If people like that, God bless them. The thing that drove me nuts, down at Asbury Park, it's a proud little place, Asbury Park.
Sure.
It's coming back. It's finally coming back. So they're happy that it's coming back. They would it actually made me sad earlier this year when I was in one of the venues and they were pumping music and they played a stupid Afghan Wigs song over the thing, trying to convince everybody that this was something that we all had to get behind because these guys were going to grace the town. Like, let's all listen to Gentlemen now and act like we all know what this is. Nobody knows what that is.
I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, if you're looking for somebody who's going to wave the Afghan Whigs flag, I think you've got the wrong two guys on the phone.
I'd love to hear you engineer the Afghan Whigs. Turn that dude's vocals all the way down.
Well, I don't know if they're still a going concern, but you feel free to pass my number along.
Remix, catalog remastering, remaster it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pitch.
I don't do salvage work, my friend. I don't do salvage work.
Elektra, Mike, get me Terry Tolkien's number over at Elektra.
Now, there's a name I haven't heard in 100 years.
Number 6 Records. Well, look, I'm not going to take any more of your time, sir.
Well, thank you. That's very gracious.
Look, it has been an exciting time to have you call in, because this other Steve, again, he played his trump card tonight. He'll never get through on the show ever again now. His time has ended.
You're aware that he's a celebrity bartender, right? Celebrity doorman. You're aware of that, right?
That's local business. That fly. This is an international radio show.
We should do a night at the bar, like the two of you playing records and talking about baseball.
I'm down. You probably don't have any good records, though, do you?
Me?
Hello.
Do I have any good records? You know what record I played tonight? I played Fool in the Rain on my show tonight.
And who's that by?
Led Zeppelin.
Oh, right. Oh, that's that old music that old out-of-touch dudes play. I forgot.
No, it's the music. It's vibrant and alive. It's today's music. You love it. You know you love it. What's your favorite Led Zeppelin song?
My favorite Led Zeppelin song?
Yeah.
I like the drums on Poor Tom.
The drums on Poor Tom are good. That's on Coda.
Whatever.
Ugh.
I'm never going to get to call in again, am I?
What were those dudes like in the studio?
You mean Jimmy Page and Robert Plant?
Yeah.
They treated me fine. But they're a different kind of human.
Yeah.
Like they've never had to deal with normal, regular human stuff.
Yeah, and nor should they have to.
Anybody ever saying no to them ever.
They shouldn't have to. For what they've made. They've earned that right.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, you can't really evaluate them. Like somebody says, what are Jimmy Page and Robert Plant like? Well, they appear to be normal, but
So they're like demigods.
Yeah, they've never.
Right?
Their life is so much different from everybody else's. You can't really evaluate them on the same scale.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if somebody ever had a reason to deny them something, then who knows what would happen? Maybe they'd burst into flames. I don't know.
Like robots, their heads would pop off.
Yeah, right.
Wires would come out.
But they treated me fine.
This is what I'll say. Nobody should deny these guys anything. The albums these guys made, they earned a lifetime pass.
I'm not
We
arguing.
all do what they say until they drop dead.
Until they run out of money. Yeah.
No, if they run out of money, we help them. We start a giant Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, big Kickstarter thing.
We go on Kickstarter to try to get these guys their mansions back.
Oh, right. Where was Kickstarter when the groundhogs broke up, huh?
Well, look, do you want to start a Kickstarter thing to get the groundhogs back together? Get them back in. You get to you can re-record Split the way you did In Color.
Okay.
All right? Let's do it.
Everything you're saying sounds great.
Now, let's do this.
Feel
Hey,
free
Mike.
to get to work on that.
Get Yancey from Kickstarter on the phone. Well, look, Steve Albini, it's been exciting having you on the show, and I all kidding aside, it's very flattering you took some time out.
Well,
I know
thank
this
you.
is
That's
not
very
your
nice of you
thing.
to say.
I ran into your buddy Bob. He was doing the Wild Flag show.
Bob Weston.
Yes.
Yeah. Bass player in the band I'm in.
Bass player from one of my all-time favorite bands, Volcano Suns.
Yeah, terrific
Top
band.
5 of my whole life.
Terrific band, terrific guy, terrific hair. Have you noticed his hair?
His hair was pretty impressive.
Luxurious.
Yes. And the other Stephen
Yes, hello?
have a nice life. This has ended.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
Your time in the orbit of the Scharpling universe has just just ended.
It has ended. See you in the next life.
Okay. Bye, Tom.
Thanks, guys. What do you think of that, Mike? It's kind of weird, right? That was good, right? It was weird. Doing a tap dance. That was grilling me. He almost hung up. Who are these boring callers left on one? What's that? Two opinionated guys.
Patreon over at patreon.com/thebestshow and follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Best Show 4 Life. That's Best Show number 4 Life. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.